Action. Hi, I'm
Hi.
Natalie, and we're gonna just chat with each other about our experiences being on the spiritual path and the different things that we've observed. I'm a spiritual healer, scientist, spiritual aspirant, and guide, and a whole bunch of other things.
Many other things.
Many other things.
And I'm Amanda. I'm a kinesiologist. I also talk about myself being a multi-dimensional healer, which is very much what I do. And I'm an intuitive sound healer as well. I'm also a facilitator and a teacher, and love being of service. Really is the thing. It's a journey that I've been on for many years, and I really love seeing now that there's so many more people that are starting to find their way to their connection to spirit.
Yes.
The point of our discussions is that we both really enjoy having these discussions, and we thought we'd share them with other people instead of just admiring our own conversations.
That's right. So one other person.
Yes.
So where do we start?
So really, I guess the overall theme of our series is helping people. I guess, we were talking about this before, being able to see what's real versus what's not real on the spiritual path, because both internally in ourselves and also externally in the world, there's a lot of, not just in the spiritual world, but in life, there's a lot of delusion. There's a lot of things that look really great and really shiny that aren't necessarily going to lead you to a deeper place of truth in yourself.
Well said. Buyer beware, right?
Yes. and between us, we've probably got a combined, over 40 years of time on the spiritual path, maybe.
Well, it's less for me, but anyway. Depends what you consider a spiritual path versus, the true path that you're on. Because it can maybe all be considered spiritual path if you've been wanting to serve others your whole life and not knew how. Yeah.
Okay, and so this first talk that we're doing tonight is about why it's actually combining the world of spirituality and business, which especially in the online entrepreneur world is a big thing these days. It's a big business. And why, the question that we're answering tonight is why your spiritual work isn't just another business tool to help you leverage your business. So that's where we're going tonight.
So the question got a bit garbled. I don't know if it got recorded. Do you want to repeat it?
So the question is why your spiritual work isn't just another business tool to add to your toolkit to help you build and leverage your business.
Yes, to achieve your goals.
Yes.
In the business world. Yes. So where do we start from there? So that's a big question or statement. We need to back that up with something.
It is a big question and statement. And so some of what we've been talking about is the fact that when you first get into the business and entrepreneur world, you may think that you are just there to run a business, and that actually, in one way or another, you're actually being of service. And with that, especially if you get involved in business networking groups, you will come face to face with people talking about all sorts of spiritual things. You've got to meditate, you need to do your EFT tapping, you need to buy these crystals.
You need to raise your vibration.
Raise your vibration.
Yes.
All these things. And they may be really new to a lot of people, not necessarily everyone, but to a lot of people it's quite new stuff. It can be confronting, it can be overwhelming, it can be very bling bling, the latest thing.
Bling bling list. It's almost like, as you're speaking, I see like a tree, and we're just picking some fruit off that tree, but we're forgetting that the tree about the tree. And so we
Yes.
kind of pick what is convenient and what is bite size and, you know, digestible. Because, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think forgetting that it was attached to the tree, and the tree was what gave it that its life or its form.
And the tree took
the tree.
Yeah, the tree took years to grow
Mm.
and to produce that fruit as well. And it does so on a seasonal and a cyclic basis. And we could go into millions of metaphors there.
For sure.
But ultimately, you know, it can often, this sort of stuff can often be considered spiritual stuff, and it can get slotted into your business toolkit. And it can be viewed in that way, where it's just another tool, it's just another thing I do to help me make sure that I succeed in my business.
And I think from my observations being in the online world of, you know, entrepreneurs, that these women come into business, like they're transitioning out of, you know, an institutional or corporate environment, starting their business, and they're learning about it, and they're hearing about law of attraction and manifesting and mindset work and, you know, tapping and meditating. And it's like, it's out of context. It's just these things that are almost like expected in order to run a business. These are these things now. It's like, where did they come from? And they're all valid and they're all important. But then I think people don't get an appreciation of their ultimate purpose, and they're not there for you to run your business. The purpose came from something else, and they've been repurposed, but without the foundation. And then it becomes a stressful thing to have to, I need to wake up early and do my mindset work, and I have to meditate, and then I have to walk for an hour, and then I have to make sure my vibration's high. And how am I manifesting? When am I manifesting? What am I manifesting? I need to get into joy to do that.
And it's not working. Why isn't it working? And I'm tapping until my fingers bleed, and it's still not working.
It's just an added stressor, and I wonder if it's really necessary to be doing it in that way, despite the positive attributes of all these practices. You know, sometimes one thing is the thing we need to use, and use it consistently, and to go deep into that thing and to discover riches.
You mentioned two things there that are really, like, there's one which is my C word, which is context, not that other C word, and the other one being going.
I don't know what you're talking about at all.
Knew I'd make you laugh. And the other one being going wide versus going deep, which a lot of, I think, especially when you don't have that C word context for your spiritual practice, and you have just been literally cherry picking because somebody said that works for me, or this works for me, then you end up with a whole jumble of stuff, and you're trying to make it work for yourself and run a business, and wondering, is it all really necessary, and is it not working, and is it me, and I the problem? You know, we can kind of go into those spirals as well.
Or when you hear, oh, I'm self-sabotaging, or I have a limiting belief, and you hear that as a normal conversation, it's like, when did we start bagging ourselves and just get on with it? Like, how did other business people make it in business without all this stuff? So have we complicated things too much by giving too much variety of things that we need to add into, or do we need to just go deep in one path, and from that depth, our business grows from that place? So it's no longer about, I need to incorporate these things that seem kind of superficial in order to have this perceived success that other people show me when they've used this stuff, supposedly. Or am I looking for a deeper, richer experience so that I can acquire wealth in a very different way? And it's not about the acquisition of money, it's about acquisition of peace, becoming that. And then when we're in that place, our priorities are different. It's no longer about achieving this one thing. It's about becoming and just feeling, just knowing we're wealthy and abundant. And then it's a totally different reality, different outcomes.
And so the question is, I think for a lot of people, is that it's not necessarily really obvious. How do you even go deep with your spiritual path, right? Like, it's not, you hear about do this practice, do that practice, but there's not a lot of okay, let's face into a layer.
Mm.
Let's explore deeper. So for all of those people, we've been talking about this, but there's a real not knowing, I think, around how you can even go deeper.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. And I think a lot of people rely on content from books or posts from other people. And so they're still collecting that data and accumulating information. But then it's like, these are great concepts. How do you do it? And so the how is the thing. This is the process of our life. How do we implement these great sounding, digestible chunks into our life to make it different or better or more fulfilled? So then we have to start going, well, who is a model for that? Who can show me the way around this one thing that I want to become masterful in? So I need to find that master.
Yeah, which is not always the thing in the world when you look at all of the pretty shiny teachers and people presenting themselves as masters and so on out there. And it's not even just a spiritual industry, there you go. It's not even just the spiritual world that has this going on. It's kind of through business, it's through marketing, advertising, whatever. It's a thing where people are like, let me be your biggest, best thing. I'm the one that can help you. My thing is best thing.
Yeah, let me be your guru.
Let me be your
guru. Yeah. And it's kind of opposite from what I've
experienced. And so this is really that whole, and it's that externalization versus the internalization of the knowledge and the wisdom and the trusting yourself to find, what it is that you need to take you deeper. And we go, well, that looks like the shiniest, biggest, most matching visual or message or whatever. But when there's no inner reliance on yourself and you're just being kind of drawn to something that looks really great, then it's a bit tricky, right? Like, how do we even know when we're going deep that we're taking the right path?
Yeah.
What are the hallmarks, right? So how do we figure out the hallmarks of that?
That's a good question. I think from my experience, the path that is right for me was the path that helped me become more connected to my own divine nature and help me become like love on legs and tap into joy for no reason or feeling peace no matter what's going on. And also the path that I'm on, I know has changed me from a stressed out kind of high achiever type into the very different, not lazy, not underachiever, but so not the priorities have completely changed. So it's all about peace, and I can get into that, and it's because I've learned that from people who are masters in that, or more masterful than I am. So they're able to show me and transmit that to me, but I have to do the work. There's no fix. There's no quick way through it. It's a prolonged process that is lifelong or lifetimes long. And I think so. Hallmarks are peace.
Peace and seeing the fruit, so they can demonstrate the fruit of their work. This is where things were. This is how things are now, and it's demonstratable. It's repeatable. It's demonstratable. You can see the benefits.
Yeah, they are the evidence.
Yeah, it's not just an idea. It's not just a label. Finish this course and receive this certificate.
Yeah,
it's in a chain that they can demonstrate to you in their own life, and then you can actually experience in your life yourself by repeating the steps that you've been given.
Yeah, and I think another hallmark is that service becomes a priority. And service, I don't mean you give so much value when someone's paying you for it. It's service for, giving from what you have for the sake of giving and not necessarily expecting a payment, which is nothing to do with business, running a business. This is about just who you are, and you yearn to connect with others, not because you need their love, but that's, this is part of the fuel and part of almost like you're sharing from what you have and that you're receiving from what others have that you need and that they need, but it's not a codependent kind of thing. That's a bit this is not the point. it's an exchange, but not monetary necessarily. It's of virtues or qualities. And that the teachers are an embodiment of those qualities. They're not just talking about it and giving these wise kind of words that didn't come from their own process. It's stuff that they've kind of picked up through learning intellectually, but you could see that they have not been able to embody that in their life. So that they're not masterful in the things that they're talking about, or their degree of mastery is not where you want to be learning from, in the place where you want to be learning. You're not in the right classroom. So, so it's more than walk their talk. It's like, you know, be their talk.
Am I in the right classroom? And I think, you know, it's just, as we're saying, this isn't just another tool for your business to make sure that you're, you know, you can meet your profits and build your business. This is about being a human being, and ultimately I think that being in business for yourself, especially as a woman, is also about that, right? Like, it is actually, that's why the two are meeting for a lot of people. This is about being human beings, and it's about living our purpose. And the more that you start to live your purpose, the more that you realize, oh, there's more to this game than just, you know, paying my mortgage.
Well, so using that expression,
oh,
sorry, interrupted.
Yeah, no, go for it.
Well, you use the expression living your purpose, and it's another kind of catchphrase that we hear, or a mantra even that we hear, just I want to live my purpose. But it's not some lofty thing. Your purpose is just, I think, coming back to this idea of serving others for the sake of serving others, because you have that to give. And you know the benefits of giving, and you know the benefits of having received from others when you've needed that, or, you know, in a way to help you. So that is, you know, do good things in the world. And I think that's ultimately the purpose, and not because you're necessarily getting paid for it.
Yeah, although it is fine to be paid, and that's what a lot of us are doing, is doing service work
that's requirement to live.
Requirement as well. And certainly a lot of people are in business because they want the life they want to live, and that means, you know, earning money that so they can have their lifestyle. And I guess the point of that being that, you know, if you're really paying attention to your spiritual growth, instead of just, I'm doing a set of tools and techniques to help me get ahead in my business so that I can go and live, you know, my life and have my, you know, toys and what have you. Look, eventually it's going to catch up with you, I suppose, is the thing. Like, you might think that you're just paying lip service, or you're doing your techniques and it's helping you. But then, even if you're only working at that level, eventually it's going to go, well, hey, this person's like clocking up some miles and some momentum here. And what can then happen is unexpected life changes, you know, crises, or that's not how you say that, is it? Life crises, or, you know, divine timing can sometimes just step in and go, right, well, it's time for this person to be cracked open a little wider. And then if you hadn't got that spiritual context, if your spiritual practice is just, you know, a set of tools that you've been using in your business, then suddenly that's inadequate. It isn't going to serve you well if that sort of thing occurs, where you get cracked wide open, your partner leaves you, or, you know, somebody dies, or you know, you have a big car crash, or, like, you know, there can be so many things that happen, and these things are meant to open us up. And so eventually those, all of a sudden your spiritual / business tools don't serve you. And so
it's not clear where they fit and how they work now, because it's out of the context of business, even though they can also be useful in helping you navigate this, you know, challenge.
Yeah.
I think,
and so then we need more context.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about here, is that, you know, that's when you start to go deeper, and suddenly, you know, if you don't have that mentor or guide or teacher who knows how to support you and knows how to, you know, give you the tools that you need, then you can be a little bit out to sea.
Yeah. So I think there's something to distinguish between being of service and providing a service. They're different. And you could be of service as you provide a service, and I think that's the point.
Yes.
But like when you are pushed into expanding into more, because your soul is like, all right, it's time to step up, lady. And it's out of your hands. It's soul's decision. And then life, if you haven't been, or even if you have, you're going to be faced with a challenge, and it could be like what you said, some really big thing, or it could just be you going, this life is boring. There's nothing, like, this isn't what I signed up for, and I'm ready for something else. Like, there must be more to this. So, sometimes your spiritual path finds you, and sometimes you have to go through the search. And part of that search is you're going to navigate and encounter everything that it's not for you. So you're going to find the false gurus and the false teachings, or the shallow, or the schools, or even the spiritual businesses that were all candy wrapper and no candy. And so, or you'll have, spiritual concepts that value the wrapper over the candy, which you don't discover until you kind of, you're developing your discernment along the way. So there's no wrong path. It all serves you. It just depends on what you want now.
Yeah. And no one path, no one teacher, only teacher. There definitely, there's so many different pathways, because we all have different frequencies and different lessons we came here to learn. Yeah. At the same time, though, it's really good idea to not kind of spread yourself thin with 20 different people or teachers. Try to narrow it down a little bit so that you actually understand what's working, which you're a scientist. I've done a lot of my own healing work, and I am a kinesiologist. And so, we work with protocols and we work with tools that say, even know what the effect is here. How do I know what's actually working and what isn't? And so if I've got, 20 different things going on at once, I can't say, well, this is definitely, the protocol that worked for that situation. Yeah.
Yeah. I just had a thought, just like in science, you have a body of evidence that is supporting your methods, your methodology, this application. This is the same in spiritual land. There's a body of evidence that comes from like ancient traditions and scriptures. And even that some of them have been modernized and adapted, but you want to always kind of go from the foundation. You want like a credible source, so that you know why you're doing this practice and what it's kind of there for, or at least one of the things that it's there for, to help you to become more at peace, or the things, the outcomes of being on the spiritual path, which are different than I will achieve this income bracket, or I will be this kind of success in my business. They're kind of like byproducts of being on the spiritual path sometimes. They're not necessarily a goal, but you do need to have goals to make money, because you need to live on it. You need it, unless you're one of those people who want to live a minimal life, and then you're going to prove otherwise. Cool. But it's one of the, an arm, but it's not the only arm. So
so it's cool to use spiritual tools as a part of your business, as long as along the way you start to pay attention to the fact that there's something bigger going on here in your business, in your spiritual life, and you go at the pace that works for you, but it's really worthwhile making sure that you've got context for all of that, and that you've got a teacher, or one or two, but not 5 or 20 that you trust, and you feel like you've got a man that can help you along the way. Otherwise, when the proverbial crap hits the fan, as it sometimes does, because it's life, and that's what happens, then everything can kind of fall apart a little bit without a sense of structure or framework or a direction to help you move through that stuff.
Yeah. And I think with the risk of having so many teachers sometimes simultaneously is the vibration at which they're all teaching, and you could encounter totally conflicting ideologies, and you're like, well, what do I do with this? Which is correct? And so then how do you go about your research? So you need to be kind of, again, with this data collection, there's also this research of, well, where is their teaching coming from? And, you know, which is actually accurate for me, and always figuring out, yes, they might be a spiritual master, but how does that look for me in my life? How is that relevant for me where I'm at now? Rather than just kind of taking it in and accepting, which you can do. And I do that with my own teacher because I trust where it comes from, but I apply it and see how it looks to me. So I'm always accumulating evidence of how this teaching has changed me in some way. And so again, it's back to discernment, knowing what it is you're looking for. What is it you want? What's your ultimate? Is it money and success? Well, that's cool, but is that spiritual path the thing for you? Or is it inner peace and to be able to be peaceful and support peace on earth? Then, you know, what's the path that has demonstrated their ability to bring that out? So everything requires research instead of just like, I hear a lot, oh, but it felt, you know, I just felt guided to talk to that person, or I felt guided to kind of go and study with them. Okay, but there's a
and what can be anyway. So let's look at that. What can be underneath that when there's a feeling of, you know, how do we even know? I often talk to people about this in terms of their own energy, right? Because I do a lot of work, and I think you do too, with empaths and helping people understand energetic boundaries. And so my first question to people is, well, do you have any idea what your own energy body feels like? And most people can't answer that question with a yes. Right? And they know generally what a feeling is like. They know, you know, we all live in each other's energy fields in general anyway, because energy bodies extend way beyond the physical form.
They blob into each other.
And do you know what you feel like? So how do you know that within even your thoughts or feelings?
Yeah.
In the first place?
Or it's like, ooh, I want to take them up on their offer. Why do I need this right now? Like, if I haven't been looking for it really, why do I need this? Am I feeling desperate and I want answers and I just need a quick fix? Or am I needing validation for something I'm already knowing of? I have my own guidance, I have my own intuition. I just want validation because I trust myself. And so, all of these things can get you to a place of trust as long as you're working on it and the people you're working with are helping you get to that place. But if it's just this exchange where it's just, I'm getting a quick fix to deal with this feeling I have right now that I don't want to have anymore, then you're not moving, you're not growing, you're actually stagnant because you're not investigating, well, what is this about? Why do I feel desperate? Why do I need to have this information now? Why do I need to know? Versus like, I'm just going to go for it and get this information that may or may not be relevant.
Which is, you know, one of my favorite metaphors as a metaphor queen is the concept of archaeology, right? Like there's this surface level and they've got their brushes and their little tiny tools and they're slowly working over an area, and that gets them to layer one of whatever time period that they're working with. But then if you go, well, but that bit over there looks really cool, and you switch to a different patch, you get to the same layer but in a different area, maybe with different information, but you're not actually going and seeing what lies underneath. And that's where we talk about the fruit of the practice. So what you see in teachers that you may admire, how do you get that for yourself? It's not something you get by constantly going to somebody else for another source of information, or skipping over here and seeing if that person's got similar answers for you, like as you say, with confirmation, or if it's not, right? And if it's the same, then you go, great, I've paid money and I've got my validation. Or you get different information, and then you get confused or fearful. Yeah. And you're running yourself in circles instead of allowing yourself to surrender into what is the next layer? How do I get into that next layer? And what is required of me to get me there? Yeah, and interestingly, this is actually a much more powerful way to use your spiritual path than just hanging out on the surface and doing your set of, techniques that you've kind of picked up from different people and different ways of doing things. You will actually gain benefits the deeper that you know yourself. You actually begin to understand that and understand how you're here to be of service and what your work is and how that's unique to anybody else's, you know, without competition, without the need for competition. Just, this is what I'm here to do. This is my message. This is how I'm here to serve. And so by taking that approach of surrender and going deeper and letting yourself stand in your stuff, you actually will help yourself and your business and your clients.
And if you haven't done that before, then you need help to do that. And it's not something you do alone, because how do you surrender? How do you go deep? Like what you said, we need help with that. We need a guide who can do that, who has traversed the depths of, you know, their own life and have come up with wisdom. You know, they've found the gold and they brought it to the surface, and now they can share it with everyone else, and how to apply that in their own unique situation to get a different result, but, you know, to help them through that challenge. So that is the benefit of having a guide and a true teacher who have done the work. And, you know, the teacher is continually working on themselves. There's never an end point. So if anyone says, I'm done, nope, I've done everything I need to do, well, I'd keep looking.
Run a mile in another direction. That person who's like, I'm like so enlightened, I'm just going to sit here on my golden cloud and, you know, eat your grapes. No, no, thank you.
And, you know, from our experience, I think we can both say that being on a spiritual path is not cookies and cream. There's this amazing moments, but there's a lot of and it's very similar to doing a PhD in science or having your own scientific, project where you're investigating this thing. There are very few highs, but it's those little highs that keep you going.
They make it worth it.
They make those little almost breakthroughs, those little eureka moments that keep you going. It's a life of work, and so. It's kind of the same thing. You're investigating the mysteries of yourself and existence as yourself, and there's no end point, and it's not an easy thing because you encounter things that you've never encountered before. So you wouldn't climb Mount Everest without a guide. It's the same thing. You need a guide for that.
In fact, I was just there just last night. I was sitting in my stuff going, I cannot believe I signed up for this stuff. I don't remember signing up for this.
Where's my oxygen mask? Where's my...
Get me off this mountain now.
Where's my jump gear? Yeah,
exactly. But
you cannot do it alone, right? That's the other thing. You can't do it alone. You can't.
No, you can't. You need the reflection. You need the guidance. You need the reassurance that it's not going to be like this forever.
And you need that hand to reach out so you can grab it, and they can pull you up to where they are because they've done it.
When you finish your suffering at that particular level, you can sit there and be miserable and woe is me, and I cannot believe this is my life, and I want a headache my entire life. And
so it's like a business mentor, right? Except you're not learning how to do your accounting, which is like an X to Y, linear process. What you're dealing with is something that's not linear at all.
Not linear. I'm going to visit them.
It's not linear and it's not trackable. It's just a process. And you can keep track of the process, but it's, it's going to have its own thing. So
yes, exactly.
Very different. So you need a guide who helps you with being uncertain and out of control.
How do you make that sound?
All right. I think it's time to wrap up. We've got
I think so. Hello, darling. So if we were to summarize, it's really important to understand that any tools that you're working with as a part of your business plan or business growth or personal development, they're not just tools. It's not like just using MailChimp. It's something a lot bigger than that, even if it may not feel that way at first. And that, it's very, very helpful to not just go wide in your spiritual work, but to go deep.
That's right.
Little mini there.
Yes.
And it's it's really good to have someone who you can trust to support you in that.
Hmm.
Looking for the right teacher or support is about being able to see their fruit, their demonstrable fruit of their practice and their, the results of their work on the spiritual path. And that it's not, it needs to be somewhere you want to be, not just because they've got the right marketing and the right messages. Really,
You'll
really
feel
important.
what's right. You'll end up feeling and discerning. All right. Thank you, Menda. Awesome chat
Thank
as always.
you.
Thanks,
Really
Isabel,
good
for
chat.
joining in.
Thanks, Isabel. Gorgeous thing. All right, we'll wrap this one up. And
All
that's
right.
the first one. Done and dusted. Feeling
Thank you.
excited.
Blessings
Right.
to everyone that they find what they're looking for with ease and grace.
Thank you. And if you've enjoyed this, we're going to be continuing doing a little series of chats. And then we might pull a finger out and turn it into a podcast or something.
Oh, get out. That
Oh
will,
my
I
God.
think the finger's out, so it's a podcast. Done. Done. Yay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Have a lovely evening.
You too.